Right, hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial video. One of the things I've seen online time and time again are people that don't really have a clue to install GTA 5 mods and get them set up so they're playing in game. So today I'm basically going to cover all of that, and I'm going to start with a very important caveat that this video is designed to be a kind of start to finish tutorial. And one of the other things, sadly, that I get quite a lot is requests for me to go on to TeamSpeak and actually set the game up for other people. I'm a firm believer in self-help. This tutorial should help you install everything and get it all set up entirely by yourself, and I guess I'm happy to hear any specific problems that you have, but if it's just because people haven't read the readme or they haven't tried or they're just lazy and they don't want somebody else to do it, I'm not interested in helping them in any way, shape or form. So with that stern word out of the way, let's begin the tutorial. So we have open one of the tools that we need, which is OpenIV, and we have the game over here, and the very first thing that we're going to do is shut them all down. So one of the things that I see happen time and time again when people do these kind of modding ventures is they forget to they like to go from a clean install, which is perfectly correct, but what they don't do is they don't actually test to make sure that the game has worked. Now, Steam itself is not infallible. It does actually corrupt things on install from time to time. It's not too often that it happens, but it does happen. So the very first thing you should do ahead of everything is actually make sure that the game is running okay. So we're going here, we're checking the version number. So this is also an important one to kind of keep a hold of, although it's, you'll know pretty quickly if you're not using the right version. So we will fire up GTA 5 and verify everything is working. So this is the base GTA menu, and we're going to click on story mode. One person is looking to join your group. Well, I don't have a group because I've never played GTA Online, but sure, whatever. That's cool. Oh, you can't see that. That's interesting. Anyway, yeah. So it's important to make sure that your GTA 5 install is working. This should be reasonably quick, seeing as we don't have any mods, and we'll just get to ensure everything is in perfect working order. Okay, so we've now started in-game, and you can see everything is working and behaving. We go outside, everything is looking very graphic-y, everything is working. Happy days. If I press any of the keys that should be there in a modded setup, they're not working, everything is fine and dandy. So now we're going to close this down in a bit of a hurry. I know there's no audio, don't worry, there is actually audio in-game, it's just because I've muted it for the sake of doing this tutorial. So the second thing that you're going to do before you even get started with modding is you are going to go to wherever you installed the game. So for me, that's my D drive. I'm going to go to the Steam library, Steam apps, common, GTA 5, and what you want to do here is take the entire folder, Control C and Control V, and paste it. So what we're doing here is we are making a backup. Now, as you can tell, I've actually already done a backup, so I'm not going to bother actually doing that one. And the reason for this is that if something goes tits up, and in the first couple of times that you're doing a modded install of GTA 5, things will probably go tits up for you. It is very, very good to have a backup. So all the way throughout this process about what we're going to do, you should be, after most steps, you should be starting the game to make sure everything is running as you expect it to, and you should be making a backup so that if you screw up the next step, you don't have to completely restart the whole process. It is a big file, and backups do take a while, but for me, I think it's half an hour to copy the folder, and it took, oh well, I didn't give it time. It took me just under 3 hours because my internet isn't quite what it used to be. So anyway, we've got a vanilla backup of the game, and we have Grand Theft Auto 5, which we have verified is working. So happy days. So we don't need OpenIV yet. What we need to do now is go to our Tinternet, and we are going to download two mods here. So we're going to do RageHook V, which is this website. So another thing that I see not used at all, which really needs to be used, is Google. most questions you have with installing mods for GTA 5 can be found on Google, so don't be afraid to just Google things. Right, so that is open. And the other one that we need is script hook V, which is here. Again, Google is your friend. I know it sounds very condescending, but honestly, the amount of times that people have problems, screw something up, can't find something, purely because they haven't actually just Googled it, is unreal. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract each of these to their various folders, and we'll give you a bit of an education about what they do. So let's now open up Grand Theft Auto folder here. So Rage Hook is nice and straightforward. All of this is unpacked for you, ready to go. You just copy that and paste it into the game directory. So the same place that GTA 5 is, GTA5.exe, that is where your game directory is. So that's the Rage plugin hook now installed. The next one is script hook, which you open it up, a folder looks like this. You go into bin and you copy everything. Well, you can copy native trainer. I don't like native trainer. So I'm going to put script hook and dinput 8.dll in, and the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up simple native trainer, which is my personal favorite. So we're going to get this from GTA 5 mods. Once again, we're just going to hit that download button. Oh, good day, sir. Why is that? Okay, here we go. Right. Okay. So let's go back to downloads, and we're going to do trainer V, extract trainer V. And all of this gets copied straight into your base game directory. Okay, so now we're ready to start the game again, and we'll see what happens. Aha, I've screwed up. Right, okay, so you don't start the game using GTA 5 XE. Now that we've got the Rage plugin hook installed, you want to use the Rage plugin hook to start the game, because that does all of its magical magicness. So we're going to double click on that to start it, and it's going to come up with this fancy looking menu. I'm just going to make sure that the Rage plugin hook is pinned in. So you accept the thing, it'll do its first time initialization. Rage plugin hook can back up your current game directory, but it requires about 1.1 gigabytes of disk storage. I suggest that you do this, and the reason why you do this is whenever the game updates itself, which is what it did recently, which is why I'm doing a complete new install on it. Your mods and things will not be usable until both script hook and rage hook have been updated, and that can be a number of weeks after the install happens, because everybody who's involved in the modding community for GTA 5, most people anyway, do their work entirely for free. So by taking a backup, when the game updates, what you can do is you can load in the necessary files from the backup, and it means you can still continue to play the game while you're waiting for the things to be updated. This never works for some reason, but I want to change this to the hash key, which is what this is. Don't have any plugins installed, so that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. There's a command line switch I like to have, and I can't remember what it is. So, sod it. Right, okay, save and launch. So it gives you instructions on how to get up the settings menu again, and all this is doing is just to streamline it. Now, we might actually see here one of the more insufferable things of script hook, which I believe somebody's patched out, but I don't know, it still happens. It still happens for me. So, see, it's going to start launching the game. Think. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So sometimes script hook comes up with a little thing saying, "Do you wish to check for updates?" And the answer is always no, you don't. But the problem is the rage hook window covers the tick box to hit yes. And so you can't hit yes, then rage hook times out and then closes, and then you have to click no to script hook. The game starts normally, which means you have to shut it down, and the whole thing's just a kerfuffle. But anyway, it didn't happen this time, which is good. So what's going to happen now is you're going to see we've now got a different interface to start us off. So you've got the rage plugin hook right in the middle, and because when you're using mods, you cannot go online, it's going to put you straight into story mode. I say you can't go online. I mean, you cannot use GTA Online. Obviously, you can go online if you're using such things as 5M servers and things, but we are not, because friends are for those people with friends, and that's not me. Okay, so we've loaded in, and now there's a distinct difference. So the default key is F4. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, default key is F4, and that opens up the console for Rage Hook. And as you can see, I've also got my my native trainer here, so I can do I can spawn vehicles. So I can go spawn police. And there we go, we've got a nice shiny American police car. Woo, America, yeah. And then we can also do cool things with the native trainer, such as teleport to North Yankton. Woo, we're in North Yankton! So we've installed two things, both of them work. Happy days! Let's all F4 because quitting the game normally is for pussies. Okay, so we've now got the basic requirements done. So let's just be nice and clean and get rid of these. So the next thing that we want to do is install LSPDFR. So LSPDFR. So we'll go for LSPD first response, which has actually just updated. So this is probably going to be quite quite intense. Oh, hello, that's a loud noise. Yeah, we agree. Oh, Jesus, a lot of things. Right, anyway, we agree to this, so we're going to do... you probably just want to do the setup.exe. I can't think of any reason that you would probably actually want to download the manual version, but whatever. So there is a bit of a thing at the moment. I don't know how quickly this will be fixed, but apparently there's a false positive virus detection going on LSPDFR, which is quite annoying. While we're waiting for that to download, we're going to download the emergency lighting system, which is important for modded cars. So we're going to do ELS V, and that's also in lspdfr.com. I could either search for it in LSPDFR, or we come to here, and we're going to just download this. Agree and download. Agree and download. Okay, so these things are now done. So what we're going to do is we're going to install LSPDFR. It has protected your PC run anyway. So there we go. That's the false positive that that we're talking about here. And that can come up for a variety of reasons, but it's all good. Here we go. So LSPDFR, it's doing its thing. So this is just a standard executable file, so you follow its instructions. If you want to speak in English, you can tell it to go in English. And do you read the agreement? Cool. Got all the things here. You don't really want anything else to go in. So it should find this automatically, but it might not. So you can always use the browse button to find out where your GTA5.exe file is. Then you click install. It does its wonderful magic, and then it should do a first time setup, which is all right. So yeah, first time configurator. So we'll let this come up, and we will see what is what, sir. So, configurator will guide you through the initial setup of LSPDFR. Cool, happy days. Please accept the Rage plugin hook license, which we've already done. And thus we will accept it again. So the next one is we recommend disabling version text rendering and setting all plugins to load. Oh, hang on, that's not right. Let's just click do it for me. No, go away. Right, do it for me. Okay, suspect that didn't work, so let's settings. Oh, yeah, okay, that didn't work. Right, so let us just, oh no, there we go. Right, okay. So plugins, load all plugins at startup, and command line versions. Right, okay, I think the other one has been sorted. Right, okay, that's fine. So we're going to install ELS as well. ELS is nice and easy, so we're going to do extract to anywhere we want to. So ELS is good because it's got a whole bunch of documentation, so if anything goes wrong or if you want to become a modder in the future, you are free to read through everything and its dog that comes in. The installation is nice and straightforward, so it tells you exactly where things go. So this is your GTA 5 folder, so you can see here we've got Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 5, so we know we're in the right place. Once again, select everything, copy it, paste it in, and would you believe that that is GTA 5 installed? Cool. Right. So we are going to do one more test to make sure everything runs okay with LSPDFR, and then we can start looking at installing other things. So you can see now that we've started up this, we've now got 2 things, 3 things. That's a bit interesting. It seems like it's trying to load it 3 times. Anyway, so it's now telling you what plugins the game is trying to load at the start. And because it's the the LSPDFR start, you will see it comes in like this. Cool. Okay. So, here we go. So the way that we test that LSPDFR is working is that we go to There's a police car. Thankfully, the people in GTA do not have any pay any particular mind to people breaking the speed limit, or going to red lights, or driving on the wrong side of the road. All this on our way to be a person of the constabulary. So when LSPDFR is loaded, thanks to the new setup for spawning units with backups and things, you will see a lot more units kind of patrolling around the place, which is good. And we can go to here and we can enter the police station to start our shift. So it will load up and you will get to, if we click on go on duty, gives you a reloading screen. You need to select a character. Would you like the selection menu? Okay. Fields Brock. Yeah, sure. Sure, whatever. So we've got a new back. Okay. Well, Madison rule. So if we click on use, right, okay, now that's what I need to do. Right, okay, fine. So we'll go on duty. It'll take us back to the police station with the person who we've selected, and it will let us choose whether we have. So if we just say, yeah, we'll go the cop. We'll have patrol, patrol outfit. That's fine. Police garage will give us some wacky wheels. That will do. Okay, so if I press oh yes, ELS is on, that's why. Right, okay. So here we are. Right, so we've got the with ELS installed. We need to use the ELS menus to control the lights and things, and yeah. Okay, cool. So everything works as we think it does. We're on patrol. We can select characters. Everything is working and behaving. So once again, we are just going to use Alt F4 to get out of the game. Now, at this point, I would probably recommend actually taking a backup. So before we're going to start this, I'm going to... This is getting a bit chest hairy now, isn't it? Let's go to the EUP... Oh, that's not what I want. EUP version 8. That's what we want. So I want to start this mod installing just now because it's, I believe it is quite a chunky mod. Yeah, 590 megabytes. So we'll get that one started. In the meantime, what we're going to do, let's do a British Gamer 88 vehicle. Why not? So we're going to install a custom vehicle, and I'm going to show you how to install custom vehicles. So while this is downloading, we're going to fire up Open IV, which is what we're going to need to install them. Now, you have the option of installing things to the base game, which is a terrible idea, or you can use a mod folder. So when you open up this, if you go to edit mode, which is what lets you actually do things, you will basically see that you need to install a plugin to let the mod folder work. So you're just going to install the ASI manager. So ASI loader is installed. We need to open, so we need to open IVASI. Yes. I know what I'm doing, so I don't have that second one ticked, but you can if you so wish, and I don't really care about the open camera. So now when I go into edit mode, almost everything you're going to be updating is going to happen in updates.rpf. So you see you get this big red warning label. It says, you need to copy this to the mods folder, so we're going to do that. Normally, once you've decided that you're not having a brain hemorrhage and that you want to install things to your updates folder, you can put it. A lot of people say in their notes to put it in patch day, but the problem with patch day is it keeps getting overwritten. And if you update the police car, say in patch day 3, and then in patch day 22 a new police car comes out, that police car that you've modded in is going to be overwritten, and that's a problem. So one of the things that we're going to need to do for the sake of sanity, and I'm going to show you how to do this, is we're going to install Albo's modding folder. So we're just going to Albo modding. Ooh, help if I could even type, and I can't. Modding, fuck it, I don't know what I mean. Folder. I don't think I've ever screwed up a sentence so significantly badly in one go. So Albo has got quite a lot of really good mods for GTA 5, and we will revisit this slightly later on, where we'll be installing more mods. So we're going to go to our downloads folder, which is here, and we're going to do... So the modding pack DLC is now done. So we're just going to get rid of the ones that we've finished. So we've extracted modding DLC, and you see you've got this .oiv file. You can read the Readme on it, which explains a lot about an OIV folder. Really what it is just a fancy zip file. So if things go particularly tits up, it can still be rescued. So I'll show you exactly what I mean by that statement. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go out and I'm going to go to Tools, Package Installer, and that tells me where to go. So if I go to Downloads now, Modding Pack, you will see I can now install the OpenIV. And what this does is it takes the complexity out of everything. I hit Install, install it to the mods folder, confirm the install. It's going to start installing it, and I don't have to muck about with anything else. It's fast, it's efficient, and it's basically foolproof. And that's it, it's done. So now what happens is if we go to update, this is the wrong one because that's the base game update. So if we now go to mods and update.rpf, nope, update x64, you now see if we go to DLC packs, we've now got a modding folder which now lets us put in whatever we want, which is pretty cool. If the OIV failed for whatever reason, and it sometimes does, you can still install packages manually. The way to do this is just rename them, get rid of that OIV, and replace it with, is it zip? I can't quite remember. So if we extract it here, yeah, so now you can extract it. And so this is basically this is the important files here. And if you go into content, these are the ways that you can do it. This is how you'd install it manually. So if I bring this across to here, we look at OpenIV. So if we go to the mods folder, common needs to go into common, and update needs to go into update. That's basically all there is to it. So that's, if something goes wrong, and it shouldn't do if you follow all the instructions, that is basically how you rescue an OIV file. But that's done, so we've got our modding folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract the Mercedes Vito. And you can see here we've got British ELS settings. So we've now got the base game installed, and we've now got the LSPDFR installed. So that's the basic things done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to model, and we're just going to call this. Yeah, let's just install it as it is for the moment. So what to do is, if you go to your mods folder, you're going to go to update.rpf, x64. Levels, GTA 5, and, or is it models? GTA 5. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to your mods folder. You're going to go to update x64 DLC packs. They're going to go to the modding folder, open it up, x64, going to go to levels, GTA 5, vehicles, vehicles.rpf. Open that up, and it's nice and empty. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab all of this from the models folder, and we're going to bring this in. So if I was to double click on this, I would now see that there is a this doesn't look like this in game, don't worry, but I can now see that the model is here, and I can see that there's a whole bunch of textures which I can edit at a later time. That's cool. So the first thing you're going to notice is this is going to handle a bit like arse. So you go back and you see some add-ons are going to have a vehicles.meta file to edit, and some are not. Visual, yeah, right, okay, so we'll do this one. So a lot of vehicles that use ELS, you will notice that the lights are very, very dim. So many mods come with a brighter police lights mod, such as this one. So we're going to copy this. And it goes into update common data, and you can see here visual settings.dat. So we're just going to drag this across, and it's now been edited. So that's that done. However, these lights aren't currently going to shine at all because we've not installed the ELS settings. So this is the ELS file here. So what we're going to do is if you go to the game root directory, so it's going to be here. And you can either do this in OpenIV, or you can do this in Windows Explorer. It's entirely your choice. But you're going to go to ELS pack default, which is the one that we used, and you can see you've got an XML file for the police, and we're going to bring in police T as well. So if we click upon that start button for the game, we will load up and see what happens. Right, okay, so we're back in game, so let's just see if all that worked. So if I now go to spawn police T, yeah, we can now see that we've got the vehicle in game, which is pretty cool. And if I put on the lights, they all work nice and well. They're nice and bright as well, so it can tell the visual.dat mod is working and everything is looking fine and good. So now the question becomes, what if you already have something in Police T and you do not want this vehicle to override it? You have to install it into another location. So let's explore how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the file here, and I'll just give you a quick rundown on how to do this. So your modding folder, which is the add-on folder, can handle both overwriting cars and it can handle adding new cars into it. So let's just close down this one. So if we go back to the modding folder, DLC, X64, levels, GTA 5, vehicles.rpf. Okay, so let's just rename some of the stuff that we have here to Vito. And rename this to Vito. Nope, that's not what I wanted at all. Vito_high. Vito_high. Cool. So it's the same file, we've just renamed it. So this is now in game over here, but now this is not going to work. We can certainly see it and we can work with it, but it is not actually going to work. So what you need to do now, and this is where things start getting a little complex. So let's just go through this. So we've done visual police settings. That covers all ELS lights, so that doesn't need to happen. If we go to the ELS settings, let us create a copy of this, and we're going to rename it to Vito. So in the same way that we opened up Explorer to put in the ELS file into ELS pack default, we're going to put Vito in. And so now the lights for our new vehicle are going to work. But we need more than that. So let's go up to OpenIV, and we're going to go to the actual, so not the modded folder, but we're going to go to the actual update folder, and we're going to go to update.rpf. You get the warning, but don't worry about it because we're not editing anything. And we're going to go to common data, levels, GTA 5, vehicles.meta, and we're just going to open that. And what you're going to do is you're going to search for police T. There we go. So we've now got the police T file here, so let's just compress this for ease. And we're going to copy everything that is in police T. So all I've done here is basically gone all the way down to the next vehicle, which is quite far actually. Yeah, so you can see how much of a pain this is. The easiest way is just to from the top, click the little arrow to compress it, and then go one line down. So that copies everything that's in police T, and we're now going to bring this up into the modding folder. Let me just expand this, it's a little bit easier to see. So you don't have to go through the whole thing each time once it's opened. So we're going to go back to DLC, and we're going to go to the same location but in our modded folder this time. So we're going to go to common, data, levels, GTA 5. We're going to edit vehicles.meta, and we're going to edit it. Simply double clicking it to open will not work. Okay, so it says add custom entries here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're just going to bring that down. So we've now copied this into here, but it's not actually going to do anything. So the model name, so we've called our model Vito, so that needs to reflect. Let's just go back to model. So the model file is this one, I think. No, it's a texture file. So this is the model file. And we've called it Vito, so this needs to be Vito. This is the texture file, and it's also called Vito, so this needs to be Vito. For the sake of showing, you how to do the handling, we're also going to change the handling to Vito. Now here's another important line that's very, very easy to forget. When I load this vehicle into game, it's going to work, but the engine is going to be perfectly silent. And if you do a whopping great J-turn, your tires are not going to make any noise because this is now an add-on vehicle. So one of the other things that you have to do is you have this line here, audio name hash. And we need to use this from a vehicle that already exists. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take out that 2 characters at the end here. So this says audio name hash. I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to put a slash here. So what this is now saying is that the game is now expecting something in here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to put police T in. So what this is telling the game is that this is an add-on vehicle, and it's going to copy all the driving sounds from police T. I could change this to be a motorbike if I wanted to, it doesn't matter, but this is how you stop it from being silent. So now that that's done, we're going to save this. Happy days. Cool. We have 2 more steps of this to do, so we're going to go back to update.rpf, the non-modded one. We're going to go to data this time, and we are going to go to handling. We're going to go to handling.meta, and we're going to open this up, and we're going to go to police T. Same again, you click the little minus to make it nice and easy to copy paste. We're going to do Control C to copy, close that down. We're going to go all the way back to the new modding folder. So we're going to go to common data, and we're going to go to handling.meta, and we're going to edit it. And we're going to add this new one in. So when we edited the previous file, we called this one veto. So it's important for us to make sure that we've got that all correct. So we've now got the new handling line for veto in, and that is that done. So the last one there is to do is car variations. So let's track all the way back to common data, and there is actually no car variations, which is interesting. Car variations isn't as important as it used to be. I wonder if it's in common now. Let me just quickly double check. Common data. No, there's no car variations here either. I'm looking in the right place. I knew something was going to go wrong during this recording. It always does. Yeah, car variations right here. Interesting. Car variations honestly isn't as important as it used to be. So I think we can possibly get away without doing it. I'm sure there is at least one here. Perhaps it is in DLC patch. Oh no, hang on, I've gone completely the wrong way. X64 DLC packs. Patch day 3 DLC. Let's just open this up. I'm just running through this quickly to see if we can't get the extra title update. No, I give up. Anyway, it should be fine. So what we're gonna do, if you can get a car, so sometimes the mods will actually have a car variation folder in it. You can copy that into the car variations folder in the same way that I've already shown you for vehicles.meta and handling.meta. It is not that big a deal. But now we're just going to test and see if it works in game. Okay. So we're now back in game, and apparently we've teleported to a completely different police station than normal. We're also not in GD, which is annoying, but that's fine. We don't need to be. So we're going to go to F4 now, and now if we do spawn veto, we will see the fruits of our labours. I'm going to unmute the game audio, so now you can hear what is going on. So we've now done spawn veto, and it has worked. It spawned something, and it's not completely terrible. So you can hear the engine starts up as it drives. You can hear the engine because of the thing that we did with the game audio hash, and because we have correctly copied over the ELS, if I put on the button to start the ELS, lights come on nice and shiny, sirens come on, happy days. So this is now a complete add-on car that we have installed to the game. So this is a file name that wasn't in the game before. We have now added it. You can do this as many times as you want in theory. In practice, however, what you will find is that the game will actually start crashing once you've put in a small number of cars, and the reason for this is there is a kind of hard-coded limit to how many vehicles one can fit into Grand Theft Auto. So what we're going to do is we're going to Google and we're going to do GTA 5 game config. Now there's loads of different ones. Yeah, limitless vehicles, that sounds good. Why not? There's loads of different options that you can get. This one was updated recently. These mods can become obsolete if the users don't update them. So it's quite important to do that. And there's also several other things that you need. So we're going to download this, which I'm going to do in a new tab, and we're going to open up these ones as well. So it tells you that you need to have these files up and running. So we're going to start downloading this, downloading the heap file adjuster, and we're going to download the pack file limit adjuster, which is all very complicated. So let's go to downloads, which is here. Okay, so we're now done with the Mercedes Vito, we're now done with the modding pack. So let's just have a wee clear up of what we need to do. So this is EUP, which we'll get to in a bit. This is the pack file, so we're just going to extract each archive to its own folder. So the heap adjuster is an ASI file, which always installs to the base game directory. So that's where it says Grand Theft Auto 5. Easiest way to tell is if you can see other ASIs there. This is a good example of where it goes. So put that into the base game. Cool, that is that one installed. Drag and drop. Pack file limit adjuster is another ASI. And so some settings, but you don't particularly need to bother with those. So we're going to copy those in, and it's an ASI again, so we're just going to drag and drop. Replace the file, why the hell not? I don't read readmes anyway. So yeah, simply tells you just drop the files into your GTA 5 folder. Cool, so they two are now installed. Last one I've got to do is the GTA 1. Now remember at the start of this video where I told you it's important to see what version number you've got. It was 1737 was the version that we were playing on. And so you can now choose your settings here for an amount of PEDs and amount of traffic. My computer has reasonable amounts of chest hair. It can handle 5x traffic and 5x PEDs. So we're going to install the game config.xml. And the way to do this is you go to update and you go to your modding folder, update.rpf common data, and you can see here there's a file called gameconfig.xml. We just copy that one straight in. Done. Okay, so what this does is if we were to add in lots of extra cars, which the version of the game that I normally run does, you will now be able to run them without the game crashing. Whereas if you didn't have the game config, what would happen would be you wouldn't get an error message. The game would just shut down right after the loading screen, which can be quite difficult to work with. So that's now done, so we don't need to worry about that. So I've shown you how to install vehicles to replace using the modding folder. I've shown you how to install custom vehicles using the modding folder, and how to get them set up in game so that the lights work, the sounds work, and the handling and vehicle files work. Cool, that's fine. Weapons are done in exactly the same way, so let me just look for a Glock 17 pistol replace. There's a really cool one I had, and for the life of me I can't quite remember. Yeah. I can't remember what one I used before. Glock 7. Actually, here's a good idea. Sort by most downloaded. Most downloaded. How is 3,000 downloads better than 35,000 downloads? I don't understand this. How is 60,000 downloads? What? This makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, okay. So let's just. This one seems popular and relatively new. So let's just go ahead and download this one. So you can download. Oh, hang on. Let's just get rid of that. Right. So we're going to go to our downloads folder, and funnily enough, why are you? Okay. Funnily enough, weapons are done in almost the same way as cars are. So if we do extract to this, so this is our folder. So we're going to open up OpenIV. We're in our update folder, and we're going to go to So this is mods update update.rpf. So the way to kind of work out where things go, if you need to replace the files that tell things how to behave, it's in common. If you need to update like liveries or models, it's x64. So we're going to go to x64, models, CD images, and that's the wrong one. Is it textures? Or have I completely screwed this up? Update. Oh, it's because I'm in the wrong folder. I'm sorry. Right, okay, sorry. Okay, so we go to the mods folder, we go to update, x64, DLC packs. We go to the modding folder, which is where I wanted to be in the start, but I've been speaking for so long, my head's gone a wee bit blue. You're going to go to DLC, x64, models, CD images, and you can see here you've got weapons.rpf. So you're going to open this up, and you see it's archives empty because we've got no weapons here. So we're going to go to update weapons.rpf, and you can see here this mod replaces the combat pistol. So you simply drag and drop, and it's done. So if we go into game, we will see that the combat pistol is no longer a combat pistol. It is now a Glock 17 pistol, which is fine and good and wonderful. Okay, so we're now in game, and we're going to use the native trainer this time. We're going to go to weapons, and we're going to add ourselves one of them combat pistols, which is all the way down here. Cool. So if I add the combat pistol and we look at it, we've now got a Glock as opposed to the combat pistol. So that is nice and done. So that's not how you install weapons. What else can we need to cover? Aha! Humans! Humans is a good one. So we downloaded the EUP texture pack, which was delightfully chunky. So this one's done, this one's done. Let's get rid of that. So EUP, let us extract this. So this is basically how to install EUP. You can mod things further than this, which I'm in the process of doing, but let's not do that. So you can, right, so let's just, before we actually go installing this mod, let's just take a look at what you can do. So the police in the game at the moment, there's kind of different levels of PEDs. So LSPDFR 4.0 introduced the use of the multiplayer model so that you're not limited to the same 2 or 3 head textures per person, and that system's a lot more complicated than normal. How it used to be was that like every ped, so you see this folder here, I mean it's empty just now, but there's component peds and component peds.rpf. So basically component peds was just the model itself and its outfit, and then component peds.p was just the hats that went with that outfit. And that basically limited you to kind of 2 or 3 heads, a few textures, a few items of clothing and things. And they're installed in the exact same way as I've shown you how to do vehicles and weapons. The component peds go into here, and the component ped props go into the _p folder, and that lets you overwrite the base game peds with ones that you've got. So if I do, I don't know, if I look over here, Festival Mat UK Police, good grief, hurry up. Like I say, the updates have just dropped for LSPDFR 4.3, so the website is going to be quite busy, so I might actually just open up GTA 5 monster.com to see what we can get. So basically, I'm not actually going to take you through it, but this is an example of like officers that have been replaced in game. So like there's, as you can see here, there's white old guy and black guy with a beard. It's a lot more limited, but this is how things used to be done, and they're installed just by the drag and drop method that I've shown you before. It even tells you where they go and what models that they replace. We're going to cover EUP. So the EUP install is nice and easy. It's an OIV file, so we know how to do those. So we're just going to go to Packages, Installers. We're going to go to the Downloads folders, Open IV, EUP. we're going to click on the OIV and we're going to install this. Now, I've done this slightly out of order because I've wanted to kind of show you it in an order that makes sense. Ideally, as soon as you've installed LSPDFR 4.3, you should install EUP, because EUP, in my experience as a modder, has a lot of potential to go wrong when it's doing the OIV install process. And yeah, that's a tad awkward. Let me just go to emergency uniforms pack. So we're going to go backwards. Yeah, it's a tad awkward. So I would recommend, as soon as you've installed LSPDFR 4.3, that you install the emergency uniforms pack, just so you can absolutely mitigate the chance of stuff going wrong. Add-ons, the other thing I need is the menu, which is here. So this simply just adds the uniforms. This will add the menu. You can see there's one for law and order, there's one for serve and rescue, which gives you fire service and paramedics and things. This one controls EUP things appearing in game, which is pretty cool, pretty useful. I use this in my install. You don't have to, it is optional, but you would just cover that in the normal way. So I'm just going to download the menu, because we've now installed this, and we now need to so now that we've done this, so if we go to our modding folder, we're going to go to mods, update, x64 DLC packs, and you can see we've had the modding folder where we've been working with, but there's a new one, EUP, and that has all of the things that we need in it. Let's go back to downloads, and we're going to extract a menu files. So it is in the it's not quite as clear unless you read the Readme on the website, but this goes into the base game directory. So we're just going to go back to here. So this is the base game directory here, and we are going to overwrite this. So Rage Native UI is needed to run this, and we've now got a plugins folder here. So that's that done. So let's go for another test. Oh, actually, so this is quite important. So I'm actually just going to click on this. So cancel that, and yeah, right, okay. So if I go to plugins, you can now see that there's a new one being installed, because the EUP menu is now a plugin. So we're going to tick on that, and we are going to save and launch. So now when we start the game, we're going to have access to the emergency uniforms pack, and I will show you what that means. So it's all nice and straightforward. So basically, the way things work in GTA 5, there's three kinds of install. There's executable, so you've seen that with the LSPDFR install, and that's nice and straightforward. You just double click it, make sure everything's pointing to the right place, and it will do the rest. You've got drag and drop, which is the other way around. You make sure it's pointing in the right place, and then you just drag everything in the folder and to drop it in the location that it's told you to do. This isn't quite as foolproof as the executable, though. You do need to read the Readme to make sure that you're dropping it off in the right location. And the third kind is OIV, which is where you just use the OpenIV file, the tool to install packages, and just let that do its business, and that's also nice and relatively foolproof. The most complicated part about it, about modding, is doing Addon Cars, or if you need to change just the slot a car is in, because then you need to start playing about with text files to make sure that all the right settings are in place. But actually, when it comes down to GTA 5 looks more intimidating than it actually is, which I think is interesting. I certainly used to be very, very scared of doing anything at all on GTA 5. Actually, the game was out for years before I even attempted to put mods on it, just because it looked so terrifyingly different from how GTA 4 did. But actually, when it comes down to, like I say, for your basic enjoyment, for the basic installation of mods in the game, it's really quite easy. It's really quite easy to do. So you don't have to. Yeah, try not to worry. Just give it a bash. Make sure you back up often. So I've not done it in this, but make sure you back up often enough that if something does go tits up, you can just easily restore a backup. Half an hour of copy pasting is a lot better than like 3 hours of downloading each time. Anyway, we're in game and we can now open up EUP. So we've got characters. It's just So I can change between this. I don't remember speaking to you. Cool. Okay, so so the EUP menu lets you go through all of the options that come in. So basically, it dramatically expands what you have access to in terms of uniforms and things, which looks pretty cool. Apparently, it's not completely foolproof, hence why half my arm is sticking through my t-shirts. And like I said, if you use the configurations, which I pointed out earlier, you can make it so that the police in-game have that same level of randomization. The LSPDFR 4.0 introduces a lot of randomization to the character, but not necessarily to the uniforms. It does have significantly more than it used to. Shh. Be quiet. Oh, I forget you can actually hear that. Whoops, my bad. You just hear me go silent for no good reason. Yeah, the game's shouting at me to go respond to calls, which is a tad annoying. Anyway, if you install the config editor, not the config editor, the LSPDFR EUP configs, your police officers that respond can have the same level of like uniforms and things, which is pretty interesting, but that's not necessarily required. Anyway, EUP works, and that's fine and dandy. So let's move on to other things. So what have we covered? I've covered how to install the game. I've covered how to install LSPDFR ELS. I've showed you how to install cars, custom cars, weapons, and now characters. So I think the next thing we probably have to do is installing scripts for the game. So let us start inspiring fear into the hearts of the people of Los Santos. So let's go to Tornado. So we'll install the Tornado mod because that's all good. That is all good. Tornado script. Cool. Right, so let's just go for a good old download of this, eh? Cool. Right, so what we need here is this and this. Cool. Right, so all this is done, so we're going to get rid of this. All this is done, so we're going to get rid of these. Cool. So let's open up the Tornado script here. And so you've got a whole bunch of things here. So scripts go into the script folder normally. Let me actually just verify that one. So this again comes to the point of why you check. So where's installation? Yeah, right. Okay, that's fine. So it does go into the scripts folder. That's fine. So it is important to check these things. It doesn't matter how seasoned you get at installing mods. You are still eventually going to fuck up. So there is a difference between scripts and plugins. So you see here, we've got LSPDFR, which is LSPDFR, obviously. Plugins are plugins predominantly for LSPDFR or sometimes other scripts, but this isn't a plugin for LSPDFR. This is a plugin for the game as such. So we need to create a scripts folder, which is a different place for scripts. So you can see that we don't have one in game already. So we're just going to create a new folder, rename it to scripts, and then we're just going to copy everything here in big. And then it's drag and drop. So I went through the different kinds of install. This one's just drag and drop. Found out where to point it to, dragged it over, and that's basically as complicated as installs go. So again, we're just going to start it up and see how we get on. So in my haste to to kind of get through this, I kind of made the mistake that I've been warning you about, and that's not reading the Readme. So one of the important things it says here on the mods. Now, the other thing to remember is when you have a download, the Readme isn't always in the download itself. Sometimes it is on the place that you download it from, and as is here, it tells you need net framework, which I've got, script hook v, which I've got because we installed earlier, but also script hook v.net, which is slightly different from before. So if you've never used GitHub before, and I hate GitHub. Oh, actually, okay, yeah. So it's got assets here. There are ways to download it. This is nice and straightforward actually, but sometimes it's not. So we'll just download this, and we'll open this back up. And so we're going to install script hook.net. So script hook is good for launching mods that are scripted, but mods that are scripted through the .net framework have a slightly different way of being installed, have a different way of being, not installed, that's the wrong word, being used in the game. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put these straight into our game root directory. Again, you can tell it's an ASI, so it usually goes in the same place as your ASI loader, which is the basic game directory. So now I can start up and the mod should work, in theory. Okay, so we're back in game now, and if everything has worked, because we've installed it properly, I should press F6. Oh yes. And the tornado is doing tornado things. Whee! Look at them cars go. So that's how you install a mod for let's just stop that. That's how you install a mod for GTA 5 rather than a plugin for LSPDFR. However, we've not actually gone over installing things for LSPDFR. So let's do that. So let's say, for example, that you want a wee bit more things to do in terms of handling and dealing with your patients. And now we your people that you pull over in LSPDFR. So as I mentioned earlier, Albo's got a variety of good mods. I've got the hiccups, apologies. So we're going to go to Albo LSPDFR Plus. Cool. So let's just go to Albo's content, not comments. Actually, I say this might not actually work because the game and LSPDFR has been recently updated. This might not actually work, but we'll give it a go anyway. So you can see here it tells you a little bit more about what it does. You can read it. This is just an example, and just gonna quickly check the last page to see if it actually works. If anyone's reported any issues since it didn't work. Posted July, so yeah, okay, no, so it should still be working because nobody's complained about it, and if the internet can do one thing, it can complain in a bloody hurry. So sometimes what one to download isn't clear, but actually they've added these labels, which is nice and helpful. So we want the main file and not any of the old files, so we're going to let it come and download. And these things install in exactly the same way as they do for scripts, except they go in the plugins folder rather than anything else. So LSPDFR, so it tells you where it goes. So Grand Theft Auto, and you can see it goes into plugins. There's several files that are required to go into the main file. So let's bring them across here. So we've already got a Rage Native UI, so we're just going to skip that. And that's that done. So if we go to plugins, you can see this goes into LSPDFR, and we don't have one yet because we don't have any mods for LSPDFR. So we're gonna bring that in here, and then I'm not gonna do it because you know what's gonna happen. It gives you a whole bunch of things here. settings, options, blah blah blah. And when you load up in game, it adds extra functionality to the game when you are in LSPDFR mode only. So that's basically the single difference between a plugin and a script. A script works when GTA 5 starts, a plugin works whenever another script is working. So EUP, it is the case of when EUP is running, all these modifiers come into effect. When LSPDFR is running, all of these modifiers come into effect. So that is a key difference. I don't think I need to demonstrate them again. Okay, so the final thing I have to show you how to install is ENBs. So basically Visual V is a good one, so let's just go for Visual V. So Visual V is a graphics mod, and for it we also need ENB. So ENB generally doesn't allow you, it allows you to share the presets but not the basic files. So I mean, it's a very Spartan website that they have here. So you just do ENB search GTA 5, it takes you to Google, and we want to download the latest version of ENB for GTA 5. So that's that one downloading, and we've got Visual V here, which we are going to download as well. Okay, so that's quite a big file, so that might take some time. So ENB series is nice and easy. You should be drag and drop. ENB. Just keep going in. Right. So all of this goes into the main file, the main directory of the game. So Grand Theft Auto 5. And that is the ENB series installed, and that's that nice and done. So what we need to do is wait for Visual V to install, which is now done. So if we extract it, okay, Visual V. So you can see here it's got options. Visual V is a good one for starting out with because one, it's good. Two, it's not got that much performance loss to it. It installs via OpenIV file, which is nice. It's got a bunch of optional files as well, and it has the original files to back up if things accidentally go tits up. So what we're going to do is the usual thing. So we're going to go to Tools, Package Installer, and we're going to go to Visual V, and we're going to install it. So it brings up the usual box. We click the install button, we tell it to go to the mods folder because we're not brain dead, and we're going to click the install button. It will do its magic. So Visual V itself is a graphical enhancement mod, so what we're installing now is things like shaders and weather mapping and cool stuff like that. The ENB settings, we are going to put them into the base game directory here, which I've just done through OpenIV. So just drag and drop the optional ENB settings. Other stuff is optional. I'm not really going to bother with it for just now, but we're going to fire up GTA 5, hopefully for the final time, and see how that looks. Okay, so here's an example of why backups are important. So I've installed everything reasonably well by the book, but when the game starts up here, it is going to crash. And I know it's going to crash because I have been looking at it for the last 5 minutes, and it's not been working. So something seems to have gone catastrophically wrong with ENB, and it's specifically the ENB. So I've got Visual V installed, and that's not a problem. Ordinarily what you would do here is you would delete this folder and redo your backup. Obviously I've not backed it up in a while, so what I'm going to do is I am going to just simply do Control Z. And what that does is all the files that I've put in from here have now been undid, because thank God for Windows. We're going to go back into OpenIV, and we're going to package install Visual V. So I'm just gonna put in the Visual V settings rather than the ENB itself, because there is something wrong with the ENB. I'm not quite sure what, if it's endemic or what, I am not too sure, but I mean, obviously something had to go wrong during these videos. We'll close this, we'll start our bridge hook, and we will see what we've got. Okay, so we're back in Michael's apartment. So if you remember from the start of this video, you remember this is actually quite dim at the start, but you can, even without the ENB, you can see the shaders at work. They're already looking a little bit brighter. So that's that installed. So it didn't go perfect. Cool. I forget that you can't hear this. But the graphics have improved slightly, even without the use of an ENB, which is fine. Hopefully, whatever's wrong with it gets fixed at some point in the future. So we've covered kind of everything that there is to cover with GTA 4. Hopefully that gives you the basic instructions for how to get set up in game. We've covered literally everything to get the police mods working. We've got covered how to install Rage Hook, Script Hook, LSPDFR, ELS, install cars to replace, install custom cars, weapons, PEDs, scripts, plugins and graphics mods. So that should be everything enough to get you started. And once you're more comfortable working with things, you can start moving into more more complicated stuff, such as like tinkering around with your setups and EUP and things, which is what I did, if that is necessary for you and your enjoyment of the game. But anyway, this has been a very long video, but I hope it's been useful in explaining a little bit on how to just get started with doing mods for GTA 5. Things haven't quite gone right with the ENB, which I'm a wee bit disappointed about, but whatever, it will get fixed eventually. And it goes to show that it doesn't matter how many times you do this. You could do it perfectly and there could actually be something wrong with the mod that you will never know until you try doing it. So as I said at the start, and I'll say it again, the most important thing that you can do when you're working your way through installing mods is test the game regularly and back up the game regularly, so that as soon as things go wrong, you can just copy it back across, easy as anything. So yeah, don't be afraid to give it a try. Keep backups, keep testing, and hopefully... Oh, that was not what I wanted to happen. Whoops. I hate GTA. I hate GTA 5 sometimes. Yeah, right, okay. I've completely lost my train of thought now. So I may as well end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Happy modding with GTA 5, folks. Bye.